In the United States, there are three basic social classes. These classes are the lower, middle, and upper classes. The media uses its influence over the public to push certain stereotypes about each of these classes into our minds. Common media stereotypes impact self image and the development of attitudes among the young. This is an issue because young minds are still trying to find their place in the world and are more impressionable. By having social classes stereotyped in the media, we have created other issues for society. Media has caused us to generally categorize people into the three classes. The media also has the influence over us to make us believe that what is in print or film is accurate and real, such as the powerful decision makers for the country are the upper class, and that the lower class is unequal to others and less deserving. Let's explore how media uses class stereotyping in nearly every magazine or newspaper you read, and TV show or movie you watch, starting with the lower class of Americans. My first main point is that lower class citizens, also referred to as the working class, are people who struggle to get by with the basic necessities. They usually have more than one job in order to pay the bills, which are often labor intensive and require little to no education. This also means lower class citizens typically have no college education and few have completed high school. While this definition is somewhat stereotypical, every family situation is different, and there are also subsections within the class. For example, there are upper, middle, and lower divisions of the lower class. The media takes advantage of this general definition and runs with it, which is part of the reason we have this stereotype for the lower class. According to Loretta Alper, 2005, in the article Class Dismissed, this class is the least represented in the media, as proved in a study conducted by City University in New York that found 2 years of PBS programming, only 27 hours of which were geared toward working class citizens, when 253 hours were geared toward the upper classes. This could be because PBS in particular knows who their audience is and wants to provide them with programming they will enjoy, which in this case seems to be middle to upper class Americans. The lower class is represented in media in several ways. The most common ways to depict them are as uneducated, lazy, and greedy people. In television and film, this is done by giving these characters low-paying jobs where they are unhappy and often irresponsible. They also show the male as being idiotic and buffoon-like, such as The Simpsons and The Flintstones. In these shows, the men have low-level jobs and are often getting themselves into awkward situations in which the wives, who are depicted as more intelligent and level-headed, have to fix the mess that the man has created. This leads to a general belief that all lower-class citizens are unmotivated at work and tend not to think before they act. However, the women are also stereotypically portrayed as lacking class or style. Roseanne, for example, is a television show that is focused on a lower-class family, and the main character of Roseanne is very controlling and obnoxious, and works several jobs in the fast food industry. Another great example of lower-class television is My Name is Earl. In this show, the characters are very low class and tend to get into bad situations because of their lack of knowledge and thinking ability. They live in mobile homes, do not use proper English, and frequently have encounters with the police. My second topic is middle class citizens. Middle class citizens make up the largest of the social classes in America. This class also has the widest range of members. Most people in the middle class own a home, make enough money to live comfortably, and have at least some college education. Once again, this is a stereotypical definition, and there are also always exceptions to the rules. Since most of America is in this category, most of the mass media is focused towards the middle to upper middle class segment. Most television drama and entertainment is targeted toward lower middle class viewers, known euphemistically as the lowest common denominator, says Jeffrey C. Alexander, 1986, in Media, Audience, and Social Structure. This is where all mass mediums come into play. From the newspapers to the movies and magazines to radio, the middle class is what puts the mass in mass media. Television is filled with shows and advertisements pertaining to the middle class. Shows such as Friends, Castle, Modern Family, Everybody Loves Raymond, and I Love Lucy all depict the lives of a group of middle-class people. All of these shows, In all of these shows, the characters live in either an average house in good neighborhoods or a nice apartment in a big city. They all have white-collar jobs such as realtor, writer, detective, musician, actor, and several of the women are stay-at-home moms. Sometimes the media is able to represent more than one social class with their productions. The television show Two and a Half Men represents the upper class and the middle class, and the conflicts that the two classes have with each other. Alan, who would be considered middle class, is a well-educated chiropractor who is divorced and living rent-free with his brother Charlie, who is a wealthy music composer but is also an unhappy alcoholic. Alan, who is down on his luck most of the time, is usually happy though. This helps to realize that accumulating wealth does not necessarily result in happiness, and thus having no wealth does not mean somebody cannot live happily. The highest social class in America is called the upper class. As with the previous two classes, the upper class also has divisions within itself. Generally, you do not hear about somebody being in the lower upper class, so those persons are just considered upper class, while the extremely wealthy are considered the elite. This is also the smallest social class in America, however, it is the most publicized. According to Linda Holtzman, 2000, in Media Messages, What Film, Television, and Popular Music Teach Us About Race, Class, Gender, and Sexual Orientation, the basic characteristic of this class is a minimum $250,000 a year income. Anything above that, and you are most likely upper class. The exceptions to this are people who have inherited large amounts of money or have won large amounts of money. In mass media, the upper class is portrayed as snooty, rich, and very sophisticated. Soap operas are a prime example of this. The characters on these television shows are always dressed in the finest suits and dresses. They have the most expensive jewelry that money can buy, their hair is perfect, the cars they own are very luxurious, most even have chauffeurs to take them where they need to go. This is how the average American sees the upper class. Other shows, such as My Super Sweet 16, Cribs, and How'd You Get So Rich, show the upper class in many different lights. Some of the people highlighted in these shows fit right into the previously mentioned stereotype, showing off their exotic cars and multi-million-dollar mansions for the viewers to envy after. On the other hand, many upper-class citizens are shown as being just like you and me, living very modestly through driving nice but not over-the-top vehicles, and living in, once again, nice but not over-the-top homes. Much of the printed media is also geared toward the upper class. The Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Kiplinger Report, and even the New York Times are all geared towards masses that have money. While these mediums are also available to anyone who can afford a couple dollars to buy each edition, the main focus in these products is on business, investing, politics, and high-end products. These are topics that are usually of no interest to the lower classes. In fact, Diana Elizabeth Kendall, 2005, in her book Framing Class, Media Representations of Wealth and Poverty in America, says that articles like these typically appeal to middle and upper class readers who are the primary purchasers of the New York Times. In conclusion, whether we realize it or not, the mass media industry has very influential power over how we envision other people in our society. The media tends to use stereotypes about how these people live and act, even if the stereotype only represents a small group of citizens. The basic stereotypes for the lower class Americans are being slobs, lazy, and uneducated. The middle class people are shown as having good jobs that pay enough to live comfortably and usually live in a good neighborhood, while the upper class receives the most media attention relative to the percent of Americans in this category. They tend to focus on the top of the upper class and how they spend their money. The main lesson to be learned here is not to believe everything you hear. The media industry is controlled by powerful people that decide what they want the public to see and think about every topic they release. So it is our responsibility to form our own opinions based on our research.